All right, pull up a chair, and I will warn you, this one is gross and it is important. There is a flesh-eating fly called the New World Screwworm, a parasite this country spent decades and hundreds of millions of dollars pushing out. And it is back in Texas cattle. More than 30 confirmed cases across Texas and New Mexico. That is a real crisis, your beef supply and your grocery bill included. So Washington did what it always does with a real crisis. It went looking for someone to blame. And today, I am going to take apart both blames, including the one from my own side. Blame number one, from the right. The villain is the migrant. Senator Roger Marshall went on Newsmax and said, quote, "When millions of people came out of Central America, they brought this screwworm with them." The Agriculture Secretary tied the outbreak to the last administration's immigration policies. Clean story. Scary border, scary bug, same cause. Hold on to it for 1 minute, because the people who study this fly for a living have a one-word answer to it. Blame number two. And this one is from my side, so I am going to be just as hard on it. The Democratic National Committee said the Trump administration is, quote, directly responsible for the crisis, that it decimated the Agriculture Department's inspection service, about a quarter of that workforce gone in the 2025 cuts. Congressman Ted Lieu blamed the same cuts. Two parties, one fly, opposite villains, and both of them pointed at the other guy's administration. When both sides reach for the same trick, that is your tell that the fly is not on either ballot. So let's bring in the witness neither talking point wants on the stand. The entomologist. David Taylor, a scientist who studies this exact fly, told factcheck.org, and I quote it flat, "Neither of them are to blame. Not the migrants, not the budget. Neither." That is not me splitting the difference to sound fair. That is the person who knows the most about the screwworm saying both microphones got it wrong. Now let me show you why, one blame at a time. The migrant claim first. Researchers say there is simply no data that migrants carry or spread this fly. It travels on livestock and wildlife, not in a backpack. Now the budget claim, my side's claim. And this one, the calendar refutes all by itself. The screwworm was detected in southern Mexico in late November of 2024. That is 2 months before the current administration took office and before a single one of those staffing cuts happened. You cannot cause an outbreak that showed up before you did. The cuts may have weakened the response, and that is a fair fight to have. It is a different sentence than the one the DNC said. So if it was not the border and it was not the budget, what was it? Something a lot less useful for a fundraising email. For decades, we held the screwworm south of Panama with a program that breeds millions of sterile male flies and drops them from planes. The wild females mate with them, lay eggs that never hatch, and the fly starves out. It worked for 50 years. Then it was allowed to wear out. The lab strain aged and lost its potency. The barrier broke down around 2022, and old-fashioned cattle smuggling, which predates every recent administration, carried the fly north. The scientists' word for it reaching us was inevitable. Now here is why the blame game is not just annoying, it is dangerous. Blame aims the response. If you believe the migrants brought it, you point the country at the border. If you believe the cuts caused it, you point it at a staffing fight in Congress. And while everybody is aiming at each other, nobody is aiming at the fly. Both parties get the same prize out of this, a clean villain wearing the other team's jersey, pinned to a slow agricultural failure that took a decade to build. The villain sells. The sterile fly program does not trend. And here is who actually pays while Washington argues. Ranchers, first, who are already running on the thinnest margins in years, with the U.S. cattle herd at its lowest in decades. And then you, at the grocery store, because beef is already at record prices and a screwworm outbreak keeps them there. We talked about those beef prices a week ago on the Cookout episode. Same wallet, new threat. The tool that actually beats this fly is the one that always has. Sterile flies, by the million. The USDA has already released about 1 million across West Texas and is scaling production back up. That is the fight. A migrant does not release one fly. A budget tweet does not release one fly. So here's the bottom line, and I held both sides to the same standard to get here. Did migrants bring the screwworm? No, and there is no data they spread it. Did the budget cuts cause it? No, it was in Mexico before the cuts and before the administration existed. What happened is that a 50-year defense was allowed to rust, and a fly that does not read the news walked through the gap. The screwworm does not care whose fault you decide it is. It cares whether we release the flies. Point at the fly, not the other team. Now, go do something with it. I'm Marcus, and this is Pixel Politics.